How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite swim bait podcast, Scales and Tails, episode 195. Joined by, as he described himself earlier before we started recording, the nomadic cameraman for John B. I'm sure you guys have probably. This is the crazy thing. Like, I've talked about people listening to the podcast 195 episodes now, and they have a very good concept and grasp of who I am, but, there's a good chance I've never interacted with them or have any idea who they are. And essentially, that's like your job in a nutshell times 10. Like, this is crazy. I'm very excited. I've got a lot of questions to ask you. We're joined by Caleb Casey, who, like, I said, is John B's camera guy. I'm sure when John goes Instagram live and stuff, you guys may have seen him every once in a while. Or he did that video with Hog Hunter and Leviathan. When you guys are listening to this, it'd be a couple weeks ago, the little hype video for that rod collab. So you guys might be familiar with Caleb, but maybe don't have a name to the face or whatever else it may be. So Caleb, kind of give us a slight introduction. We'll put you on the spot with some icebreakers, and then we've got a whole lot of nerding out to do about camera stuff, and obviously a little bit of fishing stuff for the guys listening to.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah, dude, I film. Your listeners might not know me, but I guarantee you that they've seen my work.
Yeah.
It's, got, millions of views, and I'm super grateful for that. But majority of it is fishing, which I love. That's, my number one hobby. And I'm blessed and grateful to work with John the past couple of years. I've had great brands to work with as well. Leviathan. We just did that Hog Hunter collab. That was so much fun. But yeah, been all over the states, all over the world, South America, gotten opportunities to fish and film. And dude, I like filming more than fishing. I
Mm,
really do. I like fishing, but there's something about documenting a catch or just an experience that others might not be able to get to experience and then posting it and have others live through that moment
yeah.
and kind of get that same feeling. So that's really cool. It's very fulfilling, to
Mm.
go out and capture a moment and then present it to others that, like I said, they might not get to experience.
Yeah, yeah. I will say I'm surprised that you said that's like the big gripe I hear from camera guys, whether it's on tour. One of my friends is a Bass Elite camera guy, like the live feed guy, and a couple other guys, like one of my buddies works with Scott Martin and stuff. And it's always like I'm always like, "Oh, how's it going?" And they're like, "Oh, it's good. I don't get to fish a lot, but I get to watch fishing a lot." And I'm always like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I could wrap my mind around that, but I would say probably, 99.9% of guys here just probably could not fathom, spending so much time on the water and only getting to cast, a couple hours every week. Like, that's probably mind-boggling and so out of their realm of imagination."
Sure. No, dude. So growing up, I grew up in Florida and I'm a saltwater angler at heart. So working with John the past couple of years, I'm not really eager to pick up a rod just because it's, primarily bass fishing. Dude, I know I'm going to piss a lot of your base off. Bass don't do it for me. They
Yeah.
really don't. I could care less. 3 months into working with John, he caught his 14 pounder. And looking back on it now, I'm like, holy shit, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
insane. But at the time, I'm fresh out of Florida and I'm like, oh, it's a grouper, not really truly understanding what
Yeah.
that fish was. But yeah, bass don't really do it for me. So I don't have that itch to pick up a rod. But now when we're like, in South America
Mhm.
fishing for arapaima,
Yeah.
dude, get me a rod. I need to catch one of those things. And John is very, very awesome. And once we get our content, he's like, yo, Caleb,
Mhm.
like switch with me here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll get the camera, you get a rod, and I'll get to experience that too, which I'm super grateful for. And yeah, but bass, dude, yeah, take it or leave it. Dude, if I catch a bass in Florida, it's a bycatch,
Yeah.
and I'm a little disappointed because that means I missed out on a snook or tarpon
Mhm.
that are also in the same ponds.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, dude. That's
but
that's
dude,
crazy.
yeah, no, John actually. I mean, do you want me to go into the story of how I met John, how I started
Let's
filming?
let's
What?
let's do the icebreakers real quick, then we'll wrap right back into it. Okay, so as most listeners know, we do two icebreakers for every guest. One is the generalized question, and the second one's a little more catered to the guest. So, Caleb, you and I are going to go fish tomorrow, whether it's up here, down there in Texas, or no, we'll wherever you spend a lot of time at. So we'll say Texas or where you grew up in Florida. We're gonna go fish in the morning. Like, we're not really, we'll film a little bit, but you and I are gonna do a lot of fishing, and we got to stop, get our snacks, gas up the boat, whatever else it may be in the morning. What's the go-to chain we're stopping at, like gas station or convenience store, and what are we getting while we're there? What are like your pre-trip essentials that you need before filming or fishing?
Good, got it already. We're going red fishing on the flats. We're stalking, tailing redfish. and we are stopping at none other than Publix, and we're
Ooh,
grabbing a
okay.
pub sub. Of course, we're in Florida, and a chicken tender pub sub. If you have not had it, you're missing out. It's orgasmic, for
Mm,
lack of better words.
okay.
It is, it is, dude. Florida pub subs. It's the epitome of flats fishing.
Mm,
You got to have one in the boat. You got to have one in your backpack, and it just makes a bad day good.
okay. Okay.
Yep.
What you got a go-to bev that we bring out there?
Dude, those Arizona
Oh, I
teas,
was gonna guess that. I was gonna cut you off and say a cold Arizona. I could tell where we were going with this answer that was what you that's what you were gonna throw out there.
absolutely. And then maybe afterwards a celebratory beer, or, I
Okay.
don't know, local pub.
What's the go-to celebratory beer? You got one that you're
Give
all
me
in
something
on?
on draft.
Okay.
Something on draft. Keep it going.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that. So I don't think anybody said Publix, but I don't know if I've had any Florida guys on since I started asking that. So Publix is a new chain we've unlocked on the show. And the pub sub, I haven't even heard of that. I've been to Florida a couple times, never crossed my radar. But next time I go, I'll have to keep my eyes open
Got
for
it.
that.
Nope. Absolutely. The only downside to that is they're not open super early. So
Oh,
sometimes you got to get them the night before.
yeah.
And the trick is you got to ask for your oil, your mayo. You got to get all that on the side
Right, so it doesn't get
because it'll get
soggy.
soggy.
Yep.
But dude, Publix, dude, I'm telling you, they're on top of their shit. They invented this little, it's called a sub safe. It's a
Hmm.
little plastic container. You
Yeah.
put your sub in there, and it doesn't go bad overnight, and it tastes
Mm.
fresh the next morning. So that's what a lot of guys do.
Yeah, that's convenient. They cornered the market there. All right.
Absolutely.
For this next question, this will actually lead us kind of perfectly into your story with John and everything else. What was
Sure.
your big camera guy? I guarantee you probably didn't start off with the biggest or nicest camera. Maybe you did. I don't know. What was your first camera and like what was the platform you learned on, I guess? And then this will like kind of segue us perfectly into it. Picture this: the sun rising over the mountains, your line gets tight, and the fight of a lifetime begins. Welcome to Lake Bacharach Lodge, Mexico's premier largemouth bass fishing lodge. Nestled in the heart of the Sierra Madre Mountains, Lake Bacharach Lodge offers world-class fishing, luxury accommodations, first-class hospitality, and expert guides who know where the grandes live. Whether you're chasing giants or kicking back after a day on the water with a frosty, cold, bottomless margarita, we've got you covered. Home to some of the biggest bass in the world, Lake Bacharach is truly an angler's paradise. Don't miss your shot at the bass of a lifetime. Book your trip now at www.lakebacharachlodge.com or call 806-316-8382 today. Lake Bacharach Lodge, truly the best in bass. If you're listening to this podcast, it's safe to assume you're tossing big baits for trophy bass. You already know that treble hook changes are part of the game, but they don't always have to be a pain in the butt to do. Toit split ring pliers are hands down the easiest way to swap out treble hooks, especially on those beefy swim baits we all love. No more slipping, no more fighting your gear, just smooth, secure hook changes every time. Available in 3 fixed sizes in a full kit with interchangeable jaws that safely open up any size split ring. Toyota doesn't stop there. They offer a full lineup of precision tools designed with anglers in mind, including long and short nose pliers, scissors that cut cleanly on limp braid, and wire forming tools perfect for rigging those soft baits. So up your game with Toy, because when you're chasing giants, every detail matters. Check them out at toyfishing.com and be sure to use code SNT15 for 15% off your order. Again, that's toyfishing.com, TOIT fishing.com. And again, SNT15 for 15% off your order.
Reaching for right here.
Is that
It
the
is a Go original session. If
Yeah.
for you listeners, it's the little cube one. It doesn't have a screen on it. It's robust. To this day, it's one of the best GoPros. It's super light. I used to head mount this thing, and
Yeah,
it's
yep.
just like a flashlight, like a headlamp. But yeah, that was my original camera. I so dude, this is a great question. It kind of goes into the start of everything. I grew up in Florida. My dad's in the military. He's in the Coast Guard. He's a puddle pirate. And so we were, bouncing around. I grew up in St. Pete. Then I went to Jacksonville.
Mm,
Jacksonville is the epitome of, Florida red fishing, the marsh. It's awesome. So, like a lot of people, you grow up fishing with your dad, but you're not really into it. You
yeah.
go because he does. And so that, kind of got my interest in it, but I wasn't full in.
Mhm.
Moved back to Tampa, and my parents got a house that in the neighborhood's a kayak launch.
Mm,
And so just to kill time, I was in probably fifth, sixth grade. Back when bikes used to be our cars and we used to
yeah.
bike everywhere. I put miles on the bike. But I go to this kayak launch and I'd wade fish. And I remember going to Walmart and there's a spinner bait and it's called Redfish Magic.
Mm,
And So I picked up the spinnerbait and I'm like, huh, it's got a redfish on the logo. I think it's like a Z-Man bait on like a TT Lures jig head. It's just a spinnerbait,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's redfish magic. So I pick it up and I tell my dad, I'm like, I'm gonna catch a redfish on this. Dude, shit, you know, second cast, I caught a slot red, and my parents weren't home. They were on a date. Like my neighbor was watching me or something, and I didn't even know if this was like a legal fish to catch. I
Yeah.
was so hyped. I was by myself. I had a magazine in my backpack. And so I measured it out with a magazine, and then I Googled, like how long is an average magazine? I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I think this fish is slot. Because in Florida, especially at that time, not so much anymore, but you keep everything.
Yeah.
And so I got this fish, lure still in its mouth. I wrapped the fluoro around my handlebars, and I pedal back to the house. And it's iconic pictures, dude. My favorite catch to this day. That's what got me into fishing.
Mhm.
And so I get home, and fantastic redfish tacos. We had them, dude. That's what started my itch for fishing. And that was around the same time I got, Instagram, was allowed to get Instagram with my parents, social media. So I started following all these fishing accounts. Back then, Guggen was just on the rise, that 2015, 2016 era of them. But I wasn't really into bass fishing, so I didn't really keep up with them. But I followed a lot of saltwater anglers, Blacktip H and his cameraman, Davis Bennett, which I'm not sure if you know of.
No, I don't think so. At least the name's not familiar.
Sure. Yeah. So back in the day, he used to post these just like little 30-second to 1 minute hype videos. I mean, you'd look at them now and call them like brain rot,
Right, yeah, yeah.
just edits, but they were awesome. It was like he was the only one putting fishing, filming to like rap music, like
Mhm.
J. Cole or
Yeah.
Gunna. And it was just epic. And so I was like, you know what? I want to film. So I asked for a GoPro for Christmas, and my parents got me this.
Mhm.
And dude, this is what started it all. I started wearing it on my head, documenting everything. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a YouTuber. Well, that fell apart quickly. And I realized kind of soon after that, I like filming more than fishing.
Mhm.
So saved up all my money and I bought a Panasonic G7.
Mhm.
I'm going to get super nerdy for all you
Yeah, yeah, I was
guys.
about to say this is where guys will kind of tune out until we get to the John B part, but that's okay. I appreciate this, and I know I've got a couple camera nerds, so they'll also appreciate
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. No, I'll keep it to a minimum, but it's just a stock. Go to Best Buy, you can pick it up. And I used it with a kit lens and I started filming. I tried to film myself and start like a YouTube, and it just didn't work out. It's super, super, super hard to film yourself. To all the guys that do it, major props. But I started reaching out to all the anglers in my area and guys that are better at me,
Mhm.
guys that were better than me. And essentially I was trying to, learn. But I was also, on the down low. I was looking for their spots.
Yeah,
They're in
yeah.
my area, trying to learn. So I'd hit them up and I'm like, yo, let's go film. And I like filming more than fishing. Like I keep reiterating, but I would go out and I'd make these little Instagram videos and people love them. And, it didn't go anywhere. But at the same time, TikTok was taking off. And this was like Charlie D'Amelio days, like
Yeah.
Hype House. I don't even know what all that's called. This is just dancing on
Mhm.
TikTok. So I was one of the first guys on TikTok to just throw up a fishing video. And it was very different. You'd go from guys hitting the whoa, guys dancing, to all of a sudden there's a snook jumping or tarpon jumping. And guys are like, huh, this is different. I, to this day, and you can't do it now because it's just so saturated, but I was the first one on TikTok to really post quality because I had a
Yeah, yeah.
camera, fishing videos, and it took off. I mean, every single video I put up, 500,000, upwards of 3, 4 million views. And a lot of them got taken off because of animal cruelty for some reason. I don't know, or copyright issues with the
Right.
music. But it was really cool. And I gained a huge following. I mean, huge back in the day. Now it's not so much. I mean, you could just do Instagram shorts or whatever. But that's how I got the attention of John and all the Googans. And yeah, started the relationship that way. But it's actually funny. John, uh, so this was like, okay, summer, this had to be probably 7 years ago because ICAST just happened. ICAST was happening in Orlando, and I knew it was happening. Very plugged in with the saltwater fishing scene, but I didn't like nobody was posting of what's happening there.
Yeah.
Google came out with, they were doing like daily vlogs, and it was him, Perrick, One Rod. They posted like a ICAST behind the scenes, and so I just started binge watching his videos and he had a video. I think it was like how to catch bass or something like that.
Mhm.
Like I've never really targeted bass. I've caught them before, but I've never really targeted them. So I went out to my grandparents' pond and I got a head and torpedo, little top water,
Yeah.
and dude, caught the shit out of them. And that's what like kind of put me on John and the Googans. And I knew actually Blackwell. I'm skipping so much, and you got to kind of direct me. I'll just talk.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, knew Blackwell before he started working with John. He grew up in Tampa and a little bit south of me. He was filming at a nightclub, and so I knew him when he got his when he started working with John.
Oh, that was
And
John's older camera guy
yes, that was John's
prior.
older camera guy,
Okay.
Blackwell. He now works for On the Water. It's a publication company up in
Oh,
Massachusetts.
what'd you say his name was? What's his first name?
Alex Blackwell.
Maybe I ran into one of the guys who does the OTW stuff at a Massachusetts show, and I think his name's Jack. I can't remember. I apologize if he's listening to this, but I do know that
There's a
publication and
whole
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole team of them. It's been around forever. They got TV shows and everything, but he works up there now. And so I knew him before he started working with John, stayed friends while he was working with John. And his kind of tenure was coming to an end. And he hit me up and he's like, hey, what do you got going on? And at this time, I just graduated high school and I was about to start college. It was peak COVID. And so I enrolled at USF, University of South Florida. And the first semester, everything was online.
Mm.
And so I started doing online classes and was doing them. And John hit me with the opportunity to come out here and film with him, just like a trial run. So I flew out first time in Texas, and dude, it was miserable. It was so hot. We caught one bass. I don't think the video ever made it, but I got to make a video and send it to him, and he loved it. And he offered me a position out here. So I was living with my parents, just starting high school. I'd never been to an in-person class, and they were super iffy about YouTube. They didn't, they're in the older generation. They don't understand social
Yeah.
media, YouTube, everything like that. Now they do, but so I had to kind of convince them, this is what I want to do. This is going to give me a portfolio. This is going to give me so many opportunities. Let me try it for a year. And their stipulation was, yeah, you can do it, but you got to stay in school. And I was like, all
Mm.
right, I'll just do it. And so I moved out here actually on the day that I was supposed to start in-person classes at University of South Florida. Forgot to opt out, missed that class, dropped it. But I started working with John, started doing online classes. That fizzled out. That lasted like a month.
Mm.
And I just stopped going, stopped attending, and I don't look back at that now.
Mhm.
I take it, I'm coming up on 4 years. I'm actually, not a lot of people know this. In October, I'm moving back to Florida, departing from John. I'll be with him for 4 years now.
Wow.
And I'm treating that as my college experience. I've been all over. I have a massive portfolio. I've networked with so many different people.
Mhm.
And I'd rather go to a company and say, here's what I've done, here's
Yeah.
who I know, and here's the proof in the pudding, rather than here's a piece of paper that says I know how to
Yeah.
do this. I'd rather show them, here's what I did.
Mhm.
And I feel like, especially in my industry, filming, that's more important
Mhm.
than being qualified for it.
Yeah.
So everything I've learned has been on YouTube. I call it YouTube University,
Yeah.
and
100%.
everything you want to know is on YouTube. There's no reason for you to take a class. I feel like those that take a class, granted, there's fantastic people that do, but you're almost molded into a shell of that professor.
Yeah.
So you're going to learn so many cool opportunities and perspectives come from breaking the narrative, right? Breaking the traditional rules. There's no
Yep.
rules in filming. There's what you should do,
Mhm.
but sometimes the most epic shots come from, delayed shutter or something like that. And they're not going to teach you that in school.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm rambling, but yeah.
No, you're good, dude. That's like recently I've been looking at like some social media positions and stuff through some of these places, and I've sent in applications and stuff, and it's like not required, but college experience, whatever. And I talked to my buddy, and like what value do you see as somebody going to college and like being taught all this social media stuff that changes all the time? Whereas if you have somebody that plugs in their resume and it's like, these are all my achievements that I've done organically on this page. Here's all the socials I've amassed, all these followers and everything else organically through my content creation. And I'm just like, I don't know, like, what do you go to college? to do with all that stuff. Like I would think that real world stuff, like you were just saying, like a legitimate portfolio filled of like essentially real life events means more. But I don't know. I guess I'm not a businessman who has an idea in their mind. I just kind of look at it from the outside in and just say, I've learned a
Exactly.
lot in the past 4 years. What was college going to do differently for me? I wasn't going to be able to take the chances that I was on my own and learn this stuff. Like you said, I might have been sheltered in this side of the equation that I would have never known until I got into a real job. And I'm like, I don't know how to run, Adobe Premiere. I've only ever used DaVinci or, whatever else it may be. Like that's like once doing it yourself, you get to explore and do so much stuff, all these different techniques and everything else just outside of filming, even just like in media in general. And just kind of crazy to think. I'm like, man, I can't believe that people go to school for this. Like I've learned all this stuff again, like you said, off of YouTube and just self trial and, bouncing ideas off
Sure.
of other guys who are into filming. Like man, I'll save my
Yeah.
money. I like you said,
Yeah.
people go do whatever they want, but I'd save my money and just kind of figure it out on my own, and that's what I've done. And
Yeah.
sounds like that's what you did too, and it seems to work out for a
Absolutely.
lot of people I talk to.
Dude, you can even break it down to fishing. And,
Yeah.
imagine there's a fishing class that they teach in college. And so you go to a classroom every single day and, maybe you'll get those hands-on lessons, but unless you're out there doing it, you're never going to truly learn.
Yeah.
And, you're going to have that piece of paper that says, yeah, I'm qualified, but you don't have the catches to prove it. I don't know. I'm trying to relate it to
No,
those
no, yeah,
that
yeah, I know
are
what
more,
you're saying.
but it's also, there's another side of me. Maybe it's ignorance, but especially, people, I want my doctors, I want my lawyers, I want
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
them to go to school. But for marketing and everything like that and how to run a business,
Mhm.
these professors, they're professors. They're not businessmen.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them have a track record, but like, some guys that are teaching me how to film movies, well, let me see your movies. And a lot
Yeah,
of times
yeah.
they don't have them.
Hmm.
Like, okay, you're trying to teach me all this, but you aren't successful in what you're teaching,
Yeah.
or else you wouldn't be a professor.
Right.
And that's like, take it with a grain of salt. Some of them love it and they do it for the art of the craft and they are successful and now they want to teach that, but most of them are not.
Dude, we're
So
gonna our
I don't know. I have a
inbox is gonna be full of a 12-year film major just tearing us apart. You sons of
oh,
bitches! I
absolutely.
I learned everything from Steven Spielberg's Third Cameraman. I know how to do everything.
Yeah, we're gonna get emails and it's gonna be an MLA format, and I'm just gonna respond. It's gonna
Everything's
be
gonna be
two cents.
cited.
Yeah, it's gonna say sent from iPhone, my response.
Yeah.
So
An 8-ball pool game.
yeah, exactly. But no, dude, I'm rambling. Like I said, you got to direct me. I can just talk and talk, and I'll get off the
No,
tracks.
no, you're good, dude. So after that first time fishing with John, like filming for him and stuff, did you like so John reaches out and you're like, hey, or you can come out here, film a video in Texas. So my thing is, and I'm curious to hear yours, like I always sell myself short. Like guys will be like, oh, this is a good video, this is a good layout, whatever it may be. And I'm just like, I know that this is terrible. Like this is gutter
Yeah,
material. Were you hard on yourself after that day? Like, oh my gosh, like I hope that all this, like I hope I got all the right moments and that sort of thing.
yeah. I mean, comparison is whatever the thief of joy. But
Yeah,
dude, I compare everything I
yeah,
do
yeah.
to everybody else, and I hate like I'm truly not happy with anything that I put out
Mhm.
just because I rewatch it, and I don't think you can be.
Yeah.
I tell people the number one thing that will make you better is criticism,
Yeah.
good or bad.
Yep.
And a lot of projects that I put out, I send to 3 people, 5 people, and I say, hey, you're not going to offend me. You can't take offense in this craft.
Mhm.
Critique the hell out of this. Tell
Yeah.
me why you hate it. And more often than not, you'll get 3 responses back and they'll be the same thing. And so then you say, okay,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to change that. But
Yeah.
one guy will think this way, one guy will think this way. And that's where, like I said earlier, you can break the mold of, what work or what's, um, generally done.
Yeah.
Um, but no, criticism is absolutely huge. You can't take offense to it.
Mhm.
People that do, they're not going to survive. I am more than happy to critique, and I have critiqued others' work in the past, and I've burnt bridges because
Yeah.
of it. But the true guys that are good in the industry, they love it,
Mhm.
and you just have to be a part of that. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Lawson Lindsay, saltwater YouTuber. I'm sure maybe you're familiar with him.
legend.
He
Yeah,
posted something on his story. This was months or probably even years ago, and maybe it was just even in the DMs. But he told me one time or mentioned it to the masses Like if you can't sit down with your significant other or your parents or your friends and sit down and watch one of your videos, like and not feel like embarrassed or something, he's like, then you're not doing the best you can. And I took that to heart, and dude, I'll sit down with anybody. I'll sit down with every neighbor on my street, and I'll watch every single video and be like, I don't feel goofy about this. Like I did exactly what I want. I captured the moments that I wanted to, and I portrayed them, and I talked to the camera, which some people may think is weird, but I enjoyed it, and I'm just putting this out there
Yeah.
for the universe to consume. That's how I feel about it.
There's a couple editing hacks. That's all I watch on YouTube is just other editors. I have a bunch of books about editing, and
Mm.
one of the main hacks, if you will, is once you're done with the video, you sit down and you watch it. There's a couple, but
Yeah.
this one is my favorite. You put your phone there, you put a book there, you open your windows, and you sit down and you watch your video. And the moment that you get distracted, something's wrong in the video. The
Mm.
moment you pick up your phone, you got to change something. You got to keep your attention there.
Yeah.
Another thing is watch it with other people, like you said.
Mm.
The moment you see other people get distracted, all right, change something. And
Yeah.
this is for long form content, but yeah, really good. And then also too, watching your video with the screen off. Just
Mm.
listen to it, and it
Mhm.
should make sense listening to it. And I heard a good quote. I forgot who it's by, but movies without visual, it's just music,
Mm.
and movies without audio, it's just bullshit. Like
Mm.
it's unwatchable almost.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, that's how movies started, but there's a good science to sound
Mm.
design and audio,
Yeah.
and it should make sense just listening to your work.
Mhm.
So if you can't do that, get back cutting. There's something you can change.
Yeah. I'll ask you this and then we'll kind of get back onto the timeline here. Do you like my thing is I kind of get discouraged on how oversaturated like the short form stuff is and how that's like where all the attention is and stuff. Like, dude, I'll make a Instagram reel and I'll send it to Marshall and Phoenix, and Phoenix will be like, "Oh, dude, it's really good," and Marshall's like, "Nope, it's 10 seconds too long or it's 12 seconds too long. Like, you need to chop this
Yeah.
down, cut out like no spaces, whatever, whatever." And he's like, "You struggle with it because you just want to talk and you want to like portray a story. Like, you're not into like grabbing somebody's attention and holding it for 20 seconds and for them just to forget about it when you scroll on to the next one." And that's what I struggle with so much with like the Instagram and like TikTok style videos. But I see myself having such an easier time like making the YouTube style videos because I can take it at my own pace, and whoever's gonna watch it is gonna watch it. They're not watching it just to click off it in 25 seconds when they lose their attention. So that's always been an issue for me. Was that an issue for you going from the TikTok videos to like the longer form stuff?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I had to learn it. And dude, there's multiple audiences. There's the audiences that they love YouTube Shorts, they love Instagram, TikTok, those, you know, Mr. Beast type videos where there's a cut every half second,
Yeah.
and that's to keep your attention. But then there's the other side that truly watch it for the story, and
Mhm.
that's like the build up, which you
Yeah.
cannot tell in 1 minute. You cannot tell a good story in 1 minute. And that's the ups and downs, the roller coaster of emotions. And then there's the other side that'll just watch the video regardless.
Yeah.
And there's other people that are genuinely just there for the fishing, and they hate all the
Yeah.
bullshit
Yeah.
in between. They intros, they're like they want to see just pure GoPro on the chest,
Mhm.
which I don't know how, but there's people out there that do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So you try to cater to every one of those audiences. Obviously, you can't please them all, but yeah, that's something I had to learn. The longest videos that I was editing before I started with John was wedding videos, and
Mm.
those are just a completely different animal. But that taught me how to tell a story.
Right.
Reading their vows, reading how they're together, and you kind of marry that with fishing. Um, Fishing is tough because
Yeah.
you can't predict the bite.
Yep.
You cannot say, okay, catch a fish now. It's
Mhm.
just not going to happen. So you got to tell a story afterwards based on how the day's set up. What John and I are trying to do now is tell the story beforehand, and it kind
Yeah.
of makes more sense. John has limited time with his kids now, and it's hard for him to break out of the house. He's not a single guy anymore. He can't just go and waste all these days because some days it just doesn't work out. Fishing, it's fishing. So now we're like, all right, so this dart series, for instance, it's a guarantee that we get a video.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we throw a dart on an app. That's the whole concept. And then we're just given whatever the fishing presents itself
Mhm.
to us. And that's how we portray in the video.
Yeah.
And So setting up videos like that where we don't have to rely on the fishing, and we already have the story kind of there. That's been huge, but fishing's tough because you can't, like I said, you can't predict the bite. So
Yeah.
there's been many days where we gone out and we don't have a video, we scrap it.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. You know how many SD cards I've formatted because I just don't catch a fish after I do 15 minutes worth of talking to the camera on how I'm going to go out and try to catch these fish today. Like, hate
Yeah.
to admit it, guys, but there's a lot of videos like that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Or like, John will catch two fish and he'll sit down and talk to the camera for 5 minutes about this pattern. And he just doesn't catch a fish on that again. And he switches, to a top water or
Yeah.
something. And we have to break it all down and do it again. And it's a different animal. But like I said, and also now departing from John, I can take that to other brands, and I feel like I am very, very good at run and gun filming. It's almost too easy
Mm,
if I sit down with a shot list for like a client
yeah.
that's not fishing, say like shooting a car or something, because everything's right in front of you. It's guaranteed. It's
Mhm.
not like you gotta, I don't know, you gotta not Hail Mary. You gotta call an audible
Yeah, yeah.
on the spot. But
Yeah, dude, and
yeah,
that's like that's why I want to shoot people more because when you do like a promotional video for yourself or whatever else it may be, dude, I have notes on my phone and it's like everything down to a science. All I have to do is make sure that the lighting is right when I press record and then go do it, come back, make sure it looks good. Okay, on to the next one. And you just work your way down a list. Like that's fun and stuff, but it's also like, oh man, I pretty much know how this video is going to come out if I take my time and make everything look like I want to and I edit it. Like I'm more
yeah,
intrigued by, like you said, like following somebody around and like trying to share a story on the bad day, on the good day, on the indifferent day. Like that seems a lot more like
it's
hands-on and entertaining to do.
it, it's rewarding and it sets up the good moments. If you
Right.
don't
Yeah.
have those bad moments, if you don't have the lows, the highs aren't as good. So
Yeah. 100%. Okay. So you find John or like John reaches out, you guys film this video on your way home. Or I guess on your way there, what did you bring with you? Like, was John like, "Hey, I have a big camera you can borrow while you're here. Just bring SD cards." Like, how did that all play out?
yeah, so I pretty much just came naked. I came with myself and I used all of his gear. This is my first time shooting on Sony with
Mm.
John, and I was using Canon at the time.
Oh,
I've used every single camera brand. I've shot on Red, I've shot on Blackmagic. Only camera brand I have not shot on is Nikon.
I was just about to ask
And
that.
yeah, I don't regret it. Um, but yeah, so I started with Sony with John, and I love it. That's what I'm running now. I sold all my gear. I'm running an FX3.
Mm.
Love it. It's the best camera for video right now. But yeah, I came with just some clothes, and I started filming on John's gear, and yeah, using his mics and everything. We've evolved to using those little DJI mics. Those
Yeah,
are a game changer. Those are awesome. Um, but yeah, just used his gear, and a lot of the shots are on just a tripod and a GoPro on his chest, and then just splicing it in post and figuring out, like I said, what the story is.
yeah.
But
Yeah, right. And that's kind of what I figured. So when you're on your way home, like, did you get enough content that you were kind of comfortable with the story you were trying to portray? Or like I mentioned earlier, really like, were you halfway back to Florida and you were just thinking like, oh my gosh, I know I wasn't recording like when this key thing happened or John mentioned this and I wish I'd have gotten it. Like, were you doubting
yeah,
yourself, I guess?
I mean, like I said, I always doubt myself every single video I put out, no matter what people say. But I don't remember specifically on that trial run when I flew back what I was thinking. The day was super shitty. We caught one fish, and then we went another day and we caught a lot of fish. And that's the video I ended up making for John. And I think I was just hyped in the moment
Mm,
and not really thinking too much. I got it out really fast and sent it to him. I tease with him all the time that he has that video, but it hasn't been posted yet. And when we're gonna post that. But no, I wasn't really thinking much of it, but there has been times, to what you said, like, forgetting to hit record or something like that. Dude, we were up in Canada and he caught I don't even know what kind of catfish it was, but a super rare catfish in Canada. And it was a super tough day of fishing and he catches it in super deep water, brings it up, and I get detail shots, macro shots of it. We go for the release. I'm like, sick, hell yeah. and I hit stop and it starts. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not making it. So there's been a lot of moments like that. Even not in fishing, dude. I've shot some weddings where
Oh no.
the the dad is walking the bride down the aisle, and I'm on a gimbal, and I'm walking down with them, and I pull off, and I hit stop, and it starts. I'm like,
It starts
yo,
recording.
yeah, no, but I've learned, and like I said, they don't teach you that in college. They're not gonna, what happens then. So now I know, just record the whole time. Don't start. There's no reason for
Mhm.
that. But yeah.
Dang. Okay, so you get back. Were you like, did you try to mimic John's style? Like, did you watch a couple of his videos beforehand and like kind of try to match his style and sequences and stuff that he did, or did you just put your own twist on that trial video?
No, not at all. Like I said, I didn't really even watch John a whole ton.
Right.
He was definitely my favorite Guggen because, John, since the beginning, has always been about filming,
Yeah.
and fishing. So I watched, good out of the Guggens, he was the majority of what I would watch. But no, I didn't really try to mimic his style. I tried to just make a video based on what I thought was good. Looking back on it now, holy shit, it's
Yeah.
disgusting. But I mean, you should say that towards every single piece of work that you and I put out. Like, you should continuously grow. Every single video I'm trying to make better than the last one. And it's so hard, like I said, because you're filming fishing.
Hmm.
Some videos are gonna have, a legendary day, but the video is gonna be compared to this pond hop day where you caught two dinks but the video is good, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. That's interesting. So I guess coming into it, did you, John, back in the day, John used to do a lot of like drone stuff. Like he'd always overlay it with all his SoundCloud music and stuff that you'd find. Did you have any experience with the drone prior to working with John, or was that something you had to kind of
Oh
learn on the
yeah.
fly?
Oh yeah. No, I've got some good drone stories. So the GoPro Session, this little cube, that was my first camera, and I traded this and $150 to my buddy for a DJI Phantom 3,
Oh, I
like
have the
one of
same
those.
one. Yeah, the red and white ones.
Yep. And I was actually filming downtown St. Pete for a different project, and I don't even know what happened to this day, but I was flying like pretty close to these buildings, and then I was with my girlfriend, and the next thing I know, I just lost connection. I'm like, that's weird. And so I'm like, pretty upset. I'm like, where's this thing? And I get closer, try to reestablish connection, just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I like walk to where I last had it, and I see the drone battery in the street. And I'm like, oh
Whoa.
shit. And so I'm like looking around, and I find it upside down in the bushes, just demolished,
Yeah.
and a guy's shoes next to it. Like, this is crazy. And so I grabbed the drone. I'm like, I hope I didn't hit any cars because it was like above an intersection too. And I brought it back home, plugged it in the computer, and I was taking pictures last. And
Oh no. I know
in the
exactly.
picture, it was like on the eighth story. This dude's on his balcony like this, and he has shoes on. And I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, dude, that's the same shoe that was
Yeah.
next to the drone. And so what I put together, maybe this didn't happen, but this is what I think happened: is the guy threw a shoe at it
Oh, 100%.
and knocked out of the sky. And funny enough, I made a TikTok about that just to get views. I was like, to the guy on the eighth story, I'm sorry you were having a bad day, but you didn't need to, take it out on me. Super cringy looking back on it. But dude, it got like 400,000 views.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. But yeah, I crashed drone then. I've crashed a lot of drones. I was filming on a flat in Florida, and I got this sunset behind the boat. It was a silhouette, so you just see our shadows. And I was in sport mode, which is like super fast, go like 40 miles an hour. And I was like 2 feet above the water, and I was just cruising right at the boat. And I went to drop a little lower, and I accidentally pressed it down a little bit too much, and it just plummeted into that water. Um, Came back the next day. It's on a flat, so I was like, I should be able to find this. And I had that DJI like refresh where they send you a new drone. You just got to send them the body back, but couldn't find the body. What's another one? John and I were filming out in East Texas, and I was getting an establishing shot of us pulling out of the Airbnb onto the road. And I lowered the drone to like, truck level on the street for us to pull out. And I was in the truck with John and everybody. And I was just going to get a shot of us, pulling out. And I was going to raise it higher and get an above shot. And what I didn't hear because I was in the truck was there's a semi coming. And dude, I hear it, and then it goes black. And I'm like, dude, what was that? And dude smashed it like a mosquito. and it was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. It made the video. But this drone is just in the street smoking, and I got out of the truck and I went to go pick it up, and it was just on fire,
Yeah.
like legitimately on fire, and there's smoke coming out, like the batteries are fuming. And I picked it all up and I threw it in the back of the truck, and I got back in the truck and I was like, dude, boys, like I don't feel so well. I don't know if I was high or what, but dude, inhaling that smoke or whatever was on fire, dude, it messed me up. I was down bad for
That's
like a good hour.
yeah, yeah.
But crashed a lot of drones.
Yeah, my first experience with my Phantom 3 is I got it for Christmas. I got it because of John. I was like, I want to film, and John was crashing them all the time at this point in time. So I don't know
Oh yeah.
why I thought I should get one. So I got one for Christmas. First day I took it out, my dad had a brand new F350. And like it's winter here, so like you're looking at the screen and you can't really tell what's going on because everything's white. And so like I take off flying it around, and I bring it back down, and like a kind of gust of wind came. And at the time, I had no perception of you look at the screen because that's the orientation of the drone, and that's how you. And so I'm watching the drone, and I'm trying to like fly away from my dad's truck, and I just run this. I run the props all the way down my dad's brand new truck, and I was like, oh my gosh, this he's gonna kill me. Luckily it didn't scratch or anything, but he was just like, I don't know if you should really be flying this. Like, I don't know if it was a good idea we got you this.
That's awesome.
And then I hop into an FPV drone, and then now I'm like, oh my gosh, these like normal analog drones are so cut and dry on how to fly these things. I feel like an expert flying one of those after an FPV.
Yeah, I've never got the opportunity to fly an FPV. I want to.
Dude, it's so fun. I have a couple that you fly inside the house, just like little like 3 inch guys, and those things just
Yeah.
rip. They're mean. You only get about 2 minutes worth of flight time on them, but you can just rip through anything.
You have the goggles for them?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a kit. It's like a kit drone that was like $150, dude. It was best $150 I ever spent. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I want to get one and throw a GoPro on it. And
Yeah.
if it crashes, it crashes.
Yeah, yeah, I'll send you one of my buddies who does it. He's pretty good at it. But anyway, so the drone stuff. So you kind of had a background, so that wasn't like anything too foreign to you or anything. Was like
Yeah.
was there anything that John asked from you that you were like, "Oh, I've never done this. I got to go to YouTube University and try to figure this out." Like, did he give you like his like Adobe suite so you had to switch over from a different editing software or anything crazy like that?
Yeah, no. So I've been through almost every single editing platform. Started in iMovie, then I went to Final Cut, and I was in Premiere when I went with John, and I was still in school, right? So I was getting that
Oh,
like
the
I think
student.
it's like $10 a month when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
in the student program.
Crazy cheap.
Um, yeah, so I was doing that even when I was out of school. Somehow I still had my license, and I think it was about 2 years ago that I switched to DaVinci.
Mm,
And dude, it's the best
I love
platform.
DaVinci. It's so
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
So
It's so
convenient.
easy. It reminds me a lot of iMovie. It like literally just drag and
Yeah.
drop and
Yep.
cut. There is a learning curve getting into it, but I keep the same keyboard controls as Premiere, so I didn't have to learn
Mm,
anything. And now I have all my hotkeys and everything
yeah.
set up, so I'm very fluent in that. But no, John is super, super easy, almost to the point where he gives me full creative control
Mm,
over the videos. So I make the video how I think it should go, and I send it to him, and he hits me back very brief notes like, "Hey, weird cut here," or "You missed a curse word here." Um, but he's never hit me back with a video where he's like, changes completely,
denied. Yeah.
which is awesome. But it's a double-edged sword too, because I'd almost like rather him, say,
Take it
"Hey,
apart.
this is
Yeah.
bullshit." Yeah, yeah, completely change all this. But no, he's been good, and the results speak for themselves. Like, if the video does well, why change it? So.
Right. How do you guys send them back and forth being so far apart? Do you upload them on like a Dropbox and shoot the link over to them, or do you guys have like a Google Drive, or how do you go about that?
So we'll just upload it on YouTube as a
Oh,
private
keep
video.
it as a draft.
And, I'm logged into his YouTube. So I just upload it and as like a private or unlisted, and he
Mhm.
can watch it on there.
Okay.
Which I think is the best way because you're going to get that YouTube codec and that YouTube colors that they put on it
Yep.
because it always degrades the quality in a
Yeah.
bit. Whereas if I send it on Drive, it might not look exactly like how
Mhm.
it's going to look like on
Yeah.
YouTube. So that's been
And
good.
and in DaVinci, you just export it straight to YouTube, which is the easiest thing because it saves and exports at the same time, which is so convenient.
Yep. It's awesome.
Yeah. So after how much longer after getting with John and shooting on that Sony, were you kind of like, oh man, I kind of want to switch over to what I'm filming to Sony?
Yeah, no, that was probably a year ago.
Okay.
Um, I'd been shooting Canon and R5, which I love. I think Canon has the best lenses to this day. The
Mhm.
EF line of lenses is fantastic. I hate Sony lenses, absolutely hate them. Even on my setups now, I'm running Sigma. I just think they're better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't stand
Sigma's where
Sony
it's
lenses.
at. I don't like the G
Yeah,
Master. It's
yeah,
okay, but
Sigma's cheaper. It has the same. They're a little heavier, but I
yeah.
could care less. But they have the same quality as Sony. But working with John, we've just fried so many Sony lenses for absolutely no reason. They just broke. But yeah, no, knowing about a year ago that I was going to break off on my own at some point, I was like, I need to invest in some gear of my own that I'm going to be using. And so I just got everything then and paying it off now, and well, like I'm stable.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love Sony. Dude, Sony for filming and for low light too, their low light for
Dude,
performance is
you can pump that
incredible.
ISO up to like 32,000 before you actually see any grain. Like it's insane.
Unbelievable. That I shot that Leviathan Hog Hunter collab video and on the 4th of July, and I went out on the 3rd because my city I'm in was supposed to have like a firework,
Yeah.
show. So I went out to this pond. And I was like, I think I'll get a reflection off the pond. Ended up coming out like wonderful.
Mhm.
The only downside was I was waiting for the grand finale because that's
Yeah.
the shots I wanted to use. The grand finale went off on the ground. They had a
Oh, the dud.
malfunction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to get, the full screen of fireworks that I wanted and that I envisioned, but
Mhm.
whatever.
Damn. So the one thing I like about Canon, and maybe the FX3 and maybe even the FX30 do it, that pre-record things. Like once you press the shutter on the video, it'll record the last 3 seconds. Somebody mentioned that
Yep.
in a podcast about Canon, and I was like, "Whoa, that's like pretty badass." He's a filmer for the Elite series. I'm like, that's sick. I don't know if the way upper end of Sony does that, but I know that like the A7 series,
Yeah.
to my knowledge, I don't know if they do or not.
Yeah, I know the FX6 does that, and a lot of tarping guys I know do that just
Mm.
because you don't want to be recording all day.
Burning, yeah.
It does record audio, I know that, but you'll have, the last like 15 or 10 seconds, however much you just got to keep it on. However
Right.
much you want your battery to run down, it's the only thing you got to keep in mind. But no, that's a great feature. A lot of production guys use that,
Mm.
but John is always rocking a GoPro.
Right.
So for the most part, if I get low on storage or something like that, I'll just turn off the camera and wait for something to happen and then just turn it on. And I can
Right.
always shoot from chest cam right to the
Right.
big cam. And
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense in that scenario. Uh shit, what was I gonna say? Something about from Sony. Shit, I can't even remember. Are you happy that you switched, or do you look back at it sometimes like, oh man, I wish I stayed with the can and stuff?
No, no, I'm super happy. The only thing that it kind of sucks at is pictures, but I don't do
Yeah.
photography that much. But now for what I do, Sony has been awesome. And I hope to grow with them, stick with them for a long time.
Right. Yeah. What are you okay, so let's kind of nerd out here a little bit. What like mics are you invested in for yourself? And kind of obviously you talked about the Sigma lenses and everything. Like what I assume it's all like small rig cages and everything, but like what's like your go-to lens and your microphones and stuff?
My go-to lens is a 24 to 70. I think it's the best lens of all time,
Mm.
2.8. You can get so much. You can get wide, you can get relatively tight.
Yeah.
Um, but for mics, I got the same exact setup that I'm using with John, those DJI, the twos, the Mic Pro twos or something like that. They're just awesome. And I've used them for weddings now. They're just plug and play. What I like about them is they record internally on
Yep.
themselves.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you lose connection with the camera, you don't have to worry about that.
Mhm.
And it's very good audio quality. You can always recover, like if somebody yells or something that peak, you can always recover it. But yeah, running that, I have a shotgun too. I think it's an older Rode, which I'll use for like studio setups.
Yeah.
But I'm really just running these DJI mics. I love them.
Yeah. I was surprised. I thought you were gonna say like 75 to 200 or something. But that's, I guess, for what you're doing like on the boat and stuff, that's probably a little too close.
Yeah, no, actually, so that's filming with myself, the 24 to 70, or like bigger projects
Mm.
just because it looks a little better. But
Yeah.
I'd say 90% of the time with John, I'm running a 16 to 35, just
Yeah.
super wide. Just because I'm right next to him for a
Right.
lot of the, especially on the boat, you don't need that tight focal length.
Yeah. I've got a 10 to 20 that I use all the time because my room is tiny and because I just got to set the camera right in front of myself. So filming myself, like that's my go-to lens. Or like just a shot that you want to like portray what's in the background. Like that's
Yeah,
like quickly become like I'm like, oh my gosh, this lens never leaves my one A7 body, it never comes off of there. And then my other one I cycle through the other two lenses I have. But primarily it's that 10 to 20. It's so much fun. It's like shooting point 0.5 on your iPhone. That's what I tell everybody when they ask, "Why is your lens so small?" I'm
exactly.
like, it's point 0.5. That's all it is to you guys.
Yep. Which also I get that question daily. What camera to use? What camera should I get? What camera should I start with? I tell people your phone.
Hmm.
John and I use iPhones so much. It's so convenient and they're scary good.
Yeah.
Like incredibly good. I don't, Ryan Trahan, right?
Yeah.
The
Yep.
YouTuber. Yeah, that's all he films with is his
Mhm.
phone. Whistling Diesel films with a
Well,
phone.
Mav,
It's scary.
to my knowledge, that's what Mav filmed with and probably still does film with.
Yep. Yeah, it's incredible. The only thing it kind of sucks on is when you need to zoom in, but
Mm.
how often do you do that,
Right.
especially filming yourself.
Yeah.
And you always have it on you too. And dude, this phone right here, it films in log, which for
Yeah.
you
Which is
non-camera guys, it's super
crazy.
flat. You can color grade it. It looks really good. So yeah,
Yeah, that's insane. That's absolutely crazy to think about. And like, do you get that comment a lot? Like, does John's YouTube video get that comment a lot? Like, what camera is this? How do I film like this type of thing?
yeah, yeah. No, all the time, especially when I was putting up the fishing TikToks. I like my inbox on Instagram would not load. People couldn't send me messages
Yeah.
because it was full.
Yeah.
And dude, it's insane because everybody has this in their pocket. Like
Hmm.
legitimately, everybody has one of these iPhones in their pocket, but they don't know what it's capable of.
Hmm.
And then you look at Ryan Trahan or Whistling Diesel and the videos that they're putting out, and the quality's fantastic. It's scary, is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like I started off with a gutter A6000 Sony, and it's like once you get good at a lower end camera, then like you can kind of step into a nice camera, and you guys will know the settings and know what the shutter does, and you can't film below this frame rate for a video. Like once you learn the basics, I tell people like that's when to grow. Like get like a A6400 for your first camera. They're like $1,100 and it comes with a pancake lens. Like that's plenty of everything that you need. And you might never see the need to upgrade to something bigger than that. It's just kind of personal preference, really. And I don't know. I rock that cheapo camera for forever. I got so many pictures on that thing. That's kind of how I grew on TikTok, is all the car photography I did with it. And looking back at it now,
Yep.
I just gave that camera to Noel because he was filming on his phone, and I was like, hey, if you want like I surprised him with it. I was like, if you want this, you can have it. Like, I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. I've taken a gajillion pictures with it, so it might just blow up. The shutter life must just kill it one day,
Yeah.
but you can have it, dude. I don't have any use for it. And
Yeah,
he's
no,
been
that's
using it, so
that's
I'm
the
happy
other
about that.
that's the other thing too is I get all the messages, hey, what camera should I start out with? What camera should I get? And it's like if you don't know cameras, you shouldn't get a camera.
Yeah.
Use your phone because it's gonna look good
Hmm.
and then learn on a camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I gave my setup to anybody on the street that, thinks they know what they're gonna do, it's gonna turn out horrible. And sometimes like, dude, I mean, for me too, like all underexposed or overexposed.
Oh
Sometimes you
yeah.
got to do that on perfect
Yep.
or on purpose for that post production result. But no, you mentioned Noel, dude. You got to get me set up with him in Florida.
Oh,
I
dude,
know he's
I will.
from the
100%.
north. I tried DMing him and he just won't respond.
I'll get you squared away with a couple good Florida guys that you can do some fishing stuff with.
Dude, I'm excited to go back to Florida. I have this new appreciation for bass. I want to truly target bass now that I'm back there and not just, go have fun and
Hmm.
catch snook and tarpon. But
Right, yeah.
it's tough. But no, I'm just now recently getting into the big swim bait game, which has
Yeah.
been, I want to catch a 40-inch snook. My biggest snook is like 27. I haven't even caught a
Oh,
snook over 30,
dude. Big glide
which
bait
is
and
nothing.
spillway at home, you'll catch one.
Dude, dude, so my first time filming with Leviathan.
Mm.
Mike from Leviathan, who does what is it? Hill
The G,
Country Swim Baits.
yeah, yeah, the GM
He
for Leviathan. Yeah,
he gave me a Medina, which is such a sick
yeah,
little
yeah,
glide. And I went back to Florida to visit my parents for Christmas. And I was like, okay, I'm going to bring this. I had a Bates OG and I didn't have a casting rod at home. All my rods are up here. So I went to Walmart and I got a Pin Squadron
yeah,
something. I
yeah.
don't know. It was like a $30 rod. Just horrible rod. And so I was fishing 20-pound fluoro and I went on a float, got a paddleboard, and I floated this backcountry bayou. Very similar to what Uncle Larry
Yeah,
fishes and
that's what I
those.
figured.
Yeah. And so I'm throwing that around. I'm throwing a little paddle tail around and a little like shrimp on a spinning rod, little artificial shrimp.
Mhm.
And I caught a jack on the Medina, which is so much fun.
That's
Jacks are,
dude.
I mean,
People shit on those fish. I would move down there and I'd catch those fish every single day. I do not care.
no, dude, they pull. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
poor man's GT.
yeah.
It's a poor man's
Exactly.
GT. So much fun. But I caught a jack and I was like, all right, this is sick. And I called my sister. She was gonna get me at the end of the float, and I'm like, hey, you can come get me now. And there's one more bridge right before I was my takeout point, and I float under the bridge, and there's some jits on the side throwing NLBNs, and just they're on that hype train, and dude, all of a sudden explosions right under the bridge, right like beside me, and it's
Yeah,
snook popping big mullet. And I'm like, oh shit. And so I get my Medina out and I flip it, I take two cranks, and I'm instantly tight. And it's a probably close to 40, if not over fish. And it starts, tail walking out of the water, jumping. I'm like, I'm playing this fish so loose. And I'm freaking out. I got 20-pound fluoro on. I'm like, should have beefed it up, but I start yelling at the kids. I'm like, yo, like I need some help. Help me land this. And there's no way I can get it up on the paddleboard.
yeah.
So I'm in like 4 feet of water. So I'm kicking with my feet and I get to the bank and the kids like he's like, dude, was that on the NLBN? Was that an NLBN? What color NLBN was that? I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, and I told him verbatim, I'm like, dude, I don't even care about this fish. I just need this lure back. And no later do I say that than it frayed me off on the bridge piling. And I'm like, dude, I was heartbroken. I texted Mike right after that. I'm like, dude, this bait's awesome. I just lost it. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. And like, dude, don't be sorry. I'm gonna hit you with a ton. But so I went back. So that was for Thanksgiving. I flew back for Christmas. And at that point, I didn't have any more Medinas, and I went to a tackle store. I got I got the OG. I got it spooled up with 50-pound braid or 40-pound braid, and I put 50-pound fluoro on as a leader.
Mm.
And I got the Savage Gear. What is that little glide called?
Was it the
It's
shine
like a
glide or the smelt or
yeah, shine glide. It's like a $25
yeah, yeah.
bait. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be heartbroken if this thing
Right.
breaks off. I was a little bit more prepared, 50-pound leader and 40-pound braid. And I was using the Leviathan daily, that like
Yep.
travel rod
Yeah, yeah.
swim. Fantastic rod. And this time I didn't do the float. I just went right under the bridge, right where I caught him, and started casting, started skipping. And it was like on an incoming tide. And dude, I hooked up again. Giant fish, giant fish. I'm freaking out. And dude, if you never caught a snook before, you need to catch one. They will humble you.
Mm.
This fish ran one way, ran the other way, and just starts peeling my braid on the pilings. I'm like, no, 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 don't do that. I'm playing them so
Having
light, and I
nightmares,
start
flashbacks.
nightmares. I started like wading out to the middle, trying to gain leverage back on this fish. And in order, because I was fishing from the bank, in order to get this fish, you'd have to come back through two
Mhm.
sets of pilings. I kind of finagle him through the first set, and he just takes one more run, and the braid snaps right off on the piling. So I'm 0 for 2 on fish close to 40. But I need to break it, and I want to do it on artificial. I want to do it on a glide
Yeah.
and the backcountry specifically. I don't want to catch a beach snook or anything
Mm.
like that. But yeah, so I'm 0 for 2. I'm about to strike out, but I'm gonna get it.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, there's a couple pages that I'll send to you that do the snook stuff in Florida with the big glide baits, and it's
Yeah.
insane the stuff they put out. Oh, I was gonna ask you something about the oh, like see like going from no bass fishing, background to probably going to see John and just probably seeing, or even the Guggen shop, like just like all of these bass orientated baits, whether it was John's, garage or whatever else it maybe, was that like essentially like a culture shock to you? Like, holy crap, I'm used to seeing like DOA shrimp and, paddle tails, and here we are with everything under the sun now.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you mentioned DOA shrimp. I got to hit on that. Best saltwater lure of all time.
Was that what you were fishing when you
Truly.
said shrimp bait earlier?
Yeah,
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 that's what I
of course.
figured.
Everything in saltwater eats a shrimp. It's the best lure of all time, and it looks the jankiest. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. It's just a piece of plastic. But no, back to what you're saying. Yeah, it definitely was a culture shock. Um, I get to John's boat and he has 15 rods on the deck.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, why do you need 15 rods? And I mean, now I come to realize you do need those, and it's for all different types of applications. But dude, when I was in Florida, I ran a 3,000, what was it? Nasty on like a 7'6" medium heavy rod, and that covered everything.
Yeah.
Covered live bait, covered those little artificials. I was throwing a 7-inch Savage Gear line through trout on that, like a 2-ounce bait.
Yeah.
That's how I caught my biggest bass previously to working with John. And you just threw everything on a spinning rod. It's just how you did things. But no, definitely now after working with John, I realized, it definitely helps and you can present a lure in a much better way if you have a rod and application that's meant for that. And, I've started now acquiring everything like that and doing a little bit of work with Leviathan. Dude, I have more swim bait rods than I know what to do with now. They sent me their ultimate, their $1,000 rod.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like a disgrace holding this thing. It's on a $150 Shimano Scorpion. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't even want to put on that. It doesn't deserve that. But
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, no, I truly appreciate having a rod application specific to the bait that you want to throw. And it definitely does help, jerk baits on little lighter setups and the swim bait rods, especially,
Yeah.
they make a ton of difference. Even the difference between, a soft swim bait rod and a glide
Oh,
rod.
yep. Yeah.
Hell of a difference.
Yeah.
You
It's
want that back
crazy.
and everything like that. But
Mhm.
yeah,
What coming from saltwater and kind of, not necessarily shit talking, but making fun of bass fishing here, a little bit here and there during this episode. When you guys go up to Maine for muskie, is that like new life to you? Like, okay, this isn't bass fishing, but it's also something that's gonna kind of kick my ass if I dink around with it when I hook one. Was that like kind of refreshing for you as an angler and kind of as a camera guy too? Not necessarily that you're gonna have a lot of action, but it's gonna be like epic when you do hook up with one.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think muskie are sick, and I appreciate them more from a filming standpoint
Yeah,
because you don't have you're not hooking up every minute. And every fish that you encounter is going to tell that story. Like I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
filming is all about telling stories, whether you just see it and you're making casts on it, or you actually get them in the boat, which we have a river up there, which is plen- plentiful. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's so many fish in there. And so you have a lot of opportunities. We get a lot of fish to the boat. We got a lot of fish in the trap, and it's really, really cool. But to kind of shift it up in Maine, we have the opportunity to chase striper,
Yeah,
which, they're saltwater fish and I've never experienced before. Going down to the Cape too, striper are sick. I wish we had them in Florida. I think we did at one point, but they moved up. But anyways, they're like snook that school. They dig like redfish. They bust like tuna.
yeah.
They're so sick. You can throw giant top waters for them. I want to take going back to Florida in October, I want to take a lot of the applications I've learned from John and
Mm,
with John and take them to Florida. Like a lot of guys, they don't use those surf fishing setups with those giant 9-inch spooks. They don't
yeah,
ever use them. But it's like, why not? There's
right.
mullet that size that they're eating.
Yeah,
Uh, Giant swim baits in saltwater. Like it's kind of picking up now. Dude, I think the biggest one's live scope. Nobody uses it in
which
saltwater.
is crazy.
Nobody uses it. It's insane. And I was telling my friends that have a couple boats, I'm like, dude, please invest in this.
Yeah,
And even if they're not fishing with it, it would save you so much time just
dead
finding
water.
bait for the day.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And or just skipping docks, every single dock in Florida you skip and you just move on. Like you can save so much time just scanning and be like, okay, there's no fish,
yeah,
or here's the fish is on the third pylon in the back.
hmm,
And furthermore, watching how they react. And that's the
yeah, yeah,
biggest part about live scope that I think is beneficial. It's watching how what fish are doing and how they react to the bait that you present. And maybe you need to slow things down. Maybe you need to drag something on the bottom. But yeah, nobody's doing that in saltwater. I think there's a huge opportunity for it. Lawson does it a little bit. I
Mhm.
know a couple guys that do it in the Everglades, but that's a kind of an untapped market, and I hope it stays that way. I really do. I doubt it will,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah. That's absolutely insane. I want to see some crazy big bait saltwater stuff from you because you got Lawson that does it, and every other saltwater video I see is like a lot of live bait, which is fine, that's whatever. But like I'll go over to my cousin and her fiance's house, and like he's watching saltwater fishing. It's just this guy fishing big mullet, which is that's what saltwater fishing is. That's kind of why change it if you're gonna fix it. If you're gonna get 100,000 views, why would you go out and skunk with a $200 bait? So I understand, but like the stuff that I've
yeah.
seen, like these saltwater fish do for big mullet, like popping them under docks and stuff. And I'm like, you could do that same thing with a Depths 250 or, just whatever, insert bait here. Like, and it would just be maybe not rewarding, but like as a viewer, I'd be like, wow, that's crazy. That's not a live bait just sitting under a float or, live lining it. Like, that's so badass.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely rewarding. And even if you're not like filming or posting a video, just fishing it, right? It's a lot like fly fishing. Just the art of it. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's really fun and it's absolutely rewarding. You're presenting that bait in a way where you trick a giant fish
Yeah.
into thinking he has an easy meal.
Mhm.
And spillway fishing, maybe not so much because it's just a conveyor belt of
Yeah. Yeah.
of food. But if you're in the backcountry skipping mangroves and you got to make the perfect cast and you got to twitch it and present it in a way, slow it down, speed it up if it's next to the boat, and just to get a big fish to commit, it's super rewarding. And this is me saying this, and I'm 0 for 2 on giant snook on glides, but there's gonna come a day where maybe I get back on the podcast and I share this story
Yeah.
and we pick up a picture of it, but it's gonna happen.
Heck yeah, dude. I have good faith and good feeling that it will happen. So we've talked about the big cameras and stuff and how, super nice cameras in that media style. Is there any other like media format, like whether it's like dad cams or like fisheye lenses, or maybe it's even more graphic orientated, like whether it's, like the stuff I post more so like where it's like posters and stuff like that. Do you like do you have a lot of experience in that? Is that something that you want to like grow into, or like is there other forms of media that you want to express yourself in, or do you think that like filming is like the answer for you and that's kind of what you're going to stick with?
I wouldn't even say really filming. I feel like definitely my calling is telling a story.
Yeah, yeah,
And like I said, getting this podcast, it's getting to share an experience with others that might not get to experience that themselves. That's truly my calling. That's what I feel rewarded with. Dude, and also in Florida. I'll put a little
yeah,
asterisk on there, dude. I've been all over the states. I was talking to my parents the other day. My parents are like, talking about moving back. My dad's like, hey, what if you get an opportunity and, insert state name? Like, no, I'm
mm,
not doing it. Like,
yeah,
I need to be in Florida. Dude, if I'm homeless in Florida, I'm happy.
yeah,
It's that whole like we live where you vacation mindset. I
yeah,
could be homeless, but the beach is my backyard. You're truly so happy there. But no, back to what you're saying. As long as I'm telling a story and if it's one guy that watches it and feels fulfilled and happy and genuinely consumes the content that I put out, then I am truly happy. But no, I'm excited. Even with the birth of AI and everything, you can just do so much more.
yeah,
I want to get a 360 camera and experience with that more. Um, it's even just like dipping a bait in the water, or even like we were talking about earlier, musky fishing.
yeah,
How many focus do you get to the boat? Well, what if you had a 360 camera on a
yep,
pole and
yeah,
you can watch that come in? That would be really cool. I want to get a tarpon on a FPV drone. I want to get a really good FPV pilot in the boat with me. And you can kind of, once you get the fish close to the boat, you can
yeah,
kind of predict when he's going to come up. You can feel when he's going to come up. And I want to get a pilot with a racing drone to circle a tarpon. I feel like
yeah,
that would be so sick, something that's never been done before. The only sketchy thing is the line, obviously, but
right,
I feel like that shot would be insane.
yeah.
Um, but no, as far as new media, I'm excited to grow with it. I'm excited to learn. I'm always, trying to improve and grow. But as long as I'm telling stories and giving those stories to people, then I'm fulfilled.
Yeah, I'll give you insight on one idea I've had, but I'll never get to implement it. Is like, and I guarantee it's been done, but a drone overview shot of a flat when those reds are fanning, and you cast out like a popper, a torpedo, or a little swim bait, wake bait, like, and then you just like pan down and you just see these fish like chasing it back. Like that's something that like that's a piece of content that I want to create because I've seen it like once or twice and I'm just like that is the coolest thing ever because I don't get to experience that. And like you said, getting to watching somebody else's experience and like just being in such awe that I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I just got to not like secondhand experience this is just unmatched.
Yep, absolutely. I've gotten to experience that same exact thing. We've been on a school in Tampa. I'd be very careful with how I word this. We call it the pumpkin patch. And it's just because every October, these schooling redfish, all the way up to 50 inches, they come on this flat and they get stuck there at low tide. There's these
Mm.
sandbars kind of in the middle of the bay that raise up. So
Yeah.
they just get trapped in a little pool. And there's not a lot of boats that can fit in there
Yep.
or that know what they're doing. And there's only a handful of captains. And it's actually pretty funny. Blacktip H has tried to go and film there, and captains have just been like, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
like we won't let you. Or other YouTube creators, I don't know him specifically, but that try to get in there, kind of expose it and shed light on it. But
Yeah.
people in the local area that know what they're doing is like, no, not happening. John has told me he's like, let's go film there. I'm like, no, dude,
No,
I will
not
not film
happening.
it. Yeah, I'll take you, but we're not filming it. But you get these massive schools of redfish, and if you put up a drone, you can track them and follow them.
Yeah.
But the water gets so low, all their tails are out of the water, they're feeding, they're
Mm.
happy. And so you work with other boats and you kind of corral them. And dude, we'll get 5 people hooked up at a time,
That's crazy.
multiple rods in the water. Super, super cool. They're all giant fish, they're all breeding fish, and that's what's really fun. And dude, I mean, redfish, I've talked about it a lot in this podcast, but that's my favorite fish,
Mhm.
truly is. And on artificial, put a little asterisk on there. But from catching that one on Redfish Magic to, every time I visit my parents now, I make it a priority to go on that same flat and just find a little tailing rat red. And you got to make that perfect cast to them and not spook them and reel it in, present it to a way that they feel like they're finding it.
Yeah.
They go over to it. A lot of times it's with that DOA shrimp and it just works.
Mm.
And it's just so much fun. It's like hunting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah, that oh my gosh, it sounds like such a blast just hearing you talk about it. This is the last. Oh, I guess I got two questions. The last, the one prior. So you guys travel all the time, and this is actually a question you were like, "What should I be prepared for?" And I sent you this question specifically because I was so intrigued by it. So you guys travel a lot. If you guys couldn't put two and two together, Caleb's got a lot of nice filming gear. It's not necessarily cheap by any means. Flying's kind of sketchy as it is. How do you travel with this gear? Like you put it in a Pelican case and a lock box, or kind of and carry it with you, like your carry on. What's your go to for traversing with all this gear?
Pelican cases, gotta have them. Dude, they're expensive, but dude, I actually bought a couple off a military surplus
Oh
store.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was like it housed like an old like radio or something. And
Right.
so I didn't have the phone, but I bought the foam insert on Amazon. So altogether, like maybe $200.
Mhm.
And it's lasted me, it'll continue to last me for another 15 years. Like they're hard to destroy. Actually, I lied. The wheels come off. I've had two in the past month come off at me at the airport. And it's just hilarious. I just still drag the thing and it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
marks up the airport floor. But yeah, Pelican cases, but always carry on your gear. Sometimes I make you check it, which is I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And especially on the smaller planes, they ask you to check it because there's no overhead room.
yeah,
And I will get out everything important. I'll throw it in my backpack very loosely. And they always say, take out your batteries, take out your batteries. I just leave my batteries in there because, whatever. And
right.
I mean, hopefully nobody pulls up this clip later because something bad happened. But yeah, no, Pelican cases are the way to go. I haven't had an issue with it. It's funny, like I will put that Pelican on the conveyor belt
Mhm.
and have so many batteries in it, camera gear, drone in it, and then that'll go through fine, but my backpack will get flagged for having a speaker in it or something.
Yeah.
So no, they don't have many issues with it, but
That's funny. That's I was kind of expecting it to be a Pelican case, just a roundabout answer. That's really the only
yep.
way that I figured you'd have any confidence traveling with all that stuff, but figured I'd still ask just in case people were intrigued by that. Dude, last question I have for you. What like say somebody is obviously grown up a little bit, maybe don't necessarily watch YouTube fishing videos, but after listening to this, they're like, okay, I want to check out like one of John and Caleb's videos. Like one or two videos that you would recommend somebody to go watch right now just to like become acquainted with your work, whether it's because it's super badass or you tell a really good story in it or it's a bunch of fish. Like give us one or two videos and give us the reasons why you suggest these ones.
Sure. One of the most proud series we've done is the South America videos, and I find myself continuously going back and watching those just because that's an opportunity and experience that I might not ever get to,
Yeah.
experience again. And I feel like I did a pretty good job at conveying those emotions and, everything that happened on the trip. So I'm super proud of those. That was just an unbelievable experience, living with the tribe, going out at night, just so many stars above your head. And obviously, like a camera can never do that justice.
Yeah.
But that just brings back memories to me. But I always say, the next one, that'll be my best one yet. And then even after that's posted, I continuously say the next one
Yeah. Yeah.
because I want to keep growing on what I build. But this dart series that we're doing, it's really fun. It's really easy to watch, even if you're not into fishing, just experiences that we go through. This past one, the fishing sucked, but people love it. They just want to watch.
Mhm.
Um, Somebody like experience, traveling to a different state that they might not know they're going to and figure out and put the pieces together in the puzzle and how that comes together. So yeah.
Have you guys had any locals like comment on this video like, "Oh my gosh, you blew up my spot that I've had to myself for 6 years"?
Dude, so many. So many. It's hilarious too because, in these areas that are pretty tough and that we might not have a lot of time to research beforehand, John will just pull up like a spot on Fish Brain
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
but it works. Like there's, people post their catches with
Yeah.
just varies. Like I would never do that, but there's people that do it and we've gotten some quality fish just off ponds that we find on Fish Brain. But yeah, we get a lot of people specifically in these videos that we're doing where we go to random states that are from the state. And also, too, John will put up a story, like usually when we're in the state, just saying that we're there. And he gets so many people that will DM him and say, "Hey, check out this pond, check out this pond." And we'll go
Yeah.
check it out. And some of them are pretty good. Some of them are just horrible, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's up to us to figure it out. But yeah,
Yeah, I figured that happens quite a bit. Where were you guys at the other day when you guys went Instagram Live? Were you back in Texas or were you guys on the road or where were you at?
we're up in Maine.
Oh, okay.
We flew up there for literally one day. It was a tournament. John's buddy that he usually fishes with was fishing another tournament, so I got to be his co-angler on that, which is so much fun. But I don't know how that video is going to do, or if it will even be a video, just because we didn't really pick up the camera the whole time. It was just on a
Right.
tripod. But it was a lot of fun fishing. It was a smallmouth derby, and did we got 11th place out of 37 boats, which sucked. Um, we didn't catch a fish over 3 pounds. Caught a lot of fish, but no fish over 3 pounds. We couldn't find them. But the guy who won was fishing shallow,
Mm.
of course. And I think he got like 16 pounds. But
Oh,
yeah.
damn, dude. Is there anything you were ready to talk about that I didn't touch on? I know that you were kind of had some ideas or had some, some thoughts. Was there anything that we didn't elaborate on that you were ready to talk about?
I mean, dude, we could keep going for another
I
five
know.
hours. Maybe get me back on when I'm back in
Yeah.
Florida,
Yeah, yeah.
early next year or something like that, and I'll share some stories.
Yeah,
We'll
there we
get into
go.
some stories. But I feel like this is a good introduction. We nerded out. I'm sure there's like three people listening right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, this was fun, bro. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Do you have a personal YouTube account? And then what's the Instagram for guys to follow you?
Yeah, no personal YouTube. It's just my name. It's Caleb Tacy, CalebTacia. That's my handle on everything. I try to keep it just my first and last name. And yeah, follow my Instagram, my TikTok. It has a lot of followers, but I just don't post on there anymore. But yeah,
Do you have so when you branch out and start your own thing, do you have an account for that yet? Or is that just gonna be on your personal?
yeah, I'm just gonna use my personal. I
Okay.
mean, I have the LLC. I've had it for a couple of years now. It's just Fish Culture Media. But yeah, if you want to work with me, hit me up through Instagram. We'll figure it out. But yeah, dude, I've got a lot of opportunity going back to Florida, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm super excited for. Even not so much fishing. Like I've got a lot of opportunities to film weddings, which I'm like, do I want to dive back into
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Maybe I don't. A lot of corporate events and like jewelry shops,
Yeah.
which I'm like, kind of intrigued me because I'm like, how can I make that interesting? But it's
Right.
also a challenge, right? I want a
Yeah.
challenge. I hate being comfortable.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, as always, I'll have Caleb's Instagram in the show notes. You guys can go follow him if you're not already. Go check out those videos. Maybe I'll link a couple of those videos that he mentioned, so you guys can go just easily go check those out. But as always, Caleb, thank you for coming on, dude. Absolutely crazy episode to hear your insight behind all this. You guys now, the listeners, hopefully get to have an idea who's behind the lens if he's not always getting to be in front of it on John's videos, and maybe you guys will like kind of have a deeper meaning behind these videos. Like, oh, this guy like really takes this passionately and wants us to experience these things even though we weren't there in the moment. Like, that's very special. And if you can capture it and display that on film or like on media, that's just there's nothing better than that in my opinion. And obviously that is like you said, that's your calling for this. So it seems like it's a perfect match for you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Adrian, for having me on. I apologize to everybody for rambling so much, but like I said, dude, next time you have me on, let's just talk stories,
Yeah,
fishing
dude.
stories. I have so many. We'll get into those, but great meeting you, dude.
Yeah, dude.
And we'll stay in touch. Hit
Yeah,
me up
dude.
with those Florida anglers.
Yeah,
Send me
yeah,
over
I
to
will.
Knowles. Answer his DMs because
Yeah.
I want to take him snook
There we go,
and he
dude.
will have a good time.
There we go. I can do that. As always, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys on the next one. See you guys.